I really, really hope you guys stick around to the end because we have on our tier list here a god tier, and there's only going to be one unit that deserves god tier, and I'm sure you're not going to know who's going to be in there, so stick around for it because I'm sure you're not going to know. How's it going? My name is Japandav, and this is Anime Reborn. Today we're making a tier list video with the new update, the New Year's update. We're going to teach you some new things here. There's some things that some people don't know. Starting off with this game here, we have ourselves our mythics, and then we have ourselves some exclusives, and then we have secrets. But starting off with Tashrio. Tashrio he's pretty all right. He's not too great. I don't think he's terrible enough to put him in C or why do you exist. He's just okay. Like his thing allows him to be placed either on a hill or on the floor. It's like, what's the point of that? You know, like what's the point? And then his damage numbers aren't exactly too great. I mean, I only have Exploder on him, but still, that's why I haven't leveled him up because he's just been so useless to me. I'm actually going to put him on C, actually. We're going to put him on C. Tashrio's not that great. Going on to Toboramo. Toboramo is the new bingo unit. If you complete the bingo board, you can get yourself Toboramo, and it comes with the Evo items. So you can instantly Evo him. If you're a new player, Toboramo is going to be the best thing for you. Toboramo is stupid easy to get, but like because he is so easy to get for new players, I'm going to put him on B tier. Normally, I would probably say put him on C tier. I think he's better than Tashrio, but he doesn't really have any passives. Nothing about him makes him good. So Toborama going right there on B tier. I think that's fine. For new players, you're going to want him. Next thing we have is Urine. So Freezing Touch. Each attack freezes enemy for 3 seconds. Ice Rain, unit damaged enemies in range for 35% of their damage each 45 seconds. 35% of your damage every 45 seconds? Like, what is the point of that? Honestly, just for that ability alone, why do you even exist? Why do you even exist? Why do you exist? Yano, I love Yano's slow. 15 seconds of being slowed. The only slow that's better than that is going to be Time King slow. Yano's going to go A tier. I love Yano. If you're a new player and you pulled Yano from the banner, use it. Use Yano. Use a support. Like, bring support units. Like, you don't have to have damage dealing units. There are people out there with damage dealing units. If you're farming for your Sid right now, throw a Yano in the front. Throw a Lucky One in the front. Throw these guys in the front. Support the better players until you pull your Sid, level up your Sid, and now you're a damage dealer. It's easy as that. So speaking on that, we're going to grab Lucky One. I'm going to put him on A tier as well. Lucky One, I'm actually going to put Lucky One above Yano. Now, just give me a second on that one, and I'll explain that in a bit when we get to another unit. I'll come back around to that one. I remember people saying Akojo was really good. People were putting him up to A tier. Some of them even said S tier. Me looking at it, maybe I just missed it. Maybe I wasn't there when it was broken. 35% more damage to enemies under frozen status effect. Every 5th hit deals 150% of his current damage and freezes the enemy for 5 seconds. So every 5th hit, he'll do a freeze for 5 seconds. He'll get 35% more damage to the ones that are frozen. So he can do extra damage on top of that. It's pretty cool. It's basically like a poor man's Aizen. I don't think he's that great though. I have Paladin on him and his DPS is still only 293 with Paladin. That's bad. I don't know what people are saying that this guy's good. I'm putting him on B tier. I don't think he's that good. Like Paladin and your numbers are that low, that's terrible. That's actually really terrible. Muichiro Mist. This is another one I'm gonna have to look up here because these aren't units that people are really using. I don't see anyone use these guys. Every time he's stunned, he gets 2.5% more damage, up to 35%, and then 15% damage to bosses. It's okay, I guess. Muichiro we're gonna put down into C tier. We'll put them in C tier. A lot of the Christmas event units were actually really bad. There was like no point in using the Christmas event units. But the next unit we're going to talk about is Noel, A tier. Noel, A tier. If you don't know the new event, the World Collision event, where it has the 3 maps, if you put down a Noel, her waves spawn in every single lane. She's really strong right now because of that, especially if you have Miracle on her. Her damage potential is pretty nice. Wave spawning in every lane. She breaks shields, so like if you need a shield breaker, Noelle's a really good shield breaker. That's what I use her for. She can chip away at some damage. Anyone that gets kind of get past. She does a slow. She does a damage increase. Noelle's a really, really strong unit. For the winter event, I'd put her in high B. For the Worlds Collide event, I'd put her in S. So we're going to break middle and we're going to put her in A tier. Next unit we're going to talk about is Light. Light is such a good unit, just like Noel. His summons spawn in every single lane in Worlds Collide. So again, S tier for Worlds Collide, B tier for winter event. We're going to split the difference, put him in A. Between the two of them, I would rather run Noelle. Light's good for single target damage, while Noelle is hitting everything and breaking shields. The next unit we're going to talk about is Gromja. Gromja is underrated. Like, I don't know why people are sleeping on Gromja. It's because I don't have Miracle on Gromja. I don't have enough rerolls because I'm not a pay-to-win account to get Gromja up there. So if you have a Scar unit that applies Scars, he gets 100% crit chance. Then on top of that, after Evo, 25% more crit damage on top of that. And if you pair that with a Yamo, you can then get Captain's Presence with 15% more crit rate, which doesn't matter because it's already 100%. 15% crit damage. So now Gromja is doing 40% more crit damage on Scar units. He has the damage potential, especially if you have Miracle on him. He has the damage potential to hit the hardest in the game, I think. I think if he's critting with a Yamo supporting him, and especially a light buffing his damage number, and you have good stat potential on him, and you have Miracle on him, especially Miracle 2, I think he can literally hit the hardest in the game. For Gromja, I'd put him right behind Light. I'd put him right behind Light. Next one we're going to be looking at is Sid. Sid is going to be going to S tier. Sid is insane. Sid is actually really insane. His damage numbers are actually crazy. He can go up to 115k I've seen. And then his attack rate's not that bad. I think I've seen it in like 5 seconds. Sid's nuke hits for 20 times whatever his damage is. He'll instantly kill the bosses. He's got full AoE as his final. He's on placement hybrid. Sid's literally insane. The only thing that's holding Sid back is Sid is expensive. It costs 75,000 to upgrade him. So moving on, next is Nanami. I love Nanami. 35% damage increase. Like I said, like it doesn't matter where you are in what stage of the game. We could be talking a year from now. Nanami will still be good because Nanami's increasing by 35%. If we move on to a point where like Sid's no longer good, like 100k is weak. Now we got units that are doing 1 million damage. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Nanami's even doing weak damage anyways. 35% more damage taken from every unit you got. Because of that, Nanami is going to be high A tier. I'm putting Nanami as S tier. Yeah. If you disagree with me, I want to see why. I want to see why you disagree with me. 140% more damage is insane. All right, the next thing we're going to be talking about is Gohan. Gohan. People are riding Gohan right now. And I saw it before. Like, I get it. Gohan's really good early game. I still use Gohan myself. Like I place him when I first start a game. I'll play Speed Cart. Speed Cart will give me money, and then I'll use the money to buy Gohan, and then I'll instantly just keep upgrading Speed Cart until I have enough money to save for another unit. But his damage potential now has really fallen off. He goes up to like 40 something K. That's not that good. Like if you're talking about a Sid who's doing 115k every 5 seconds versus a Gohan who's doing 40k every 3.8 seconds, and then you buff him and he's doing like 80 something K every 3.8 seconds. That's still less damage than Sid's doing in 5 seconds. The DPS doesn't translate. Gohan's kind of falling off because of that. I got to put Gohan above Noelle, but he's not above Nanami. Nanami is better than Gohan. At this current stage in the game, I would rather have a Nanami than a Gohan. Noelle's a pretty good potential too. If you set up with Noelle, I've run games where I don't bring Gohan, I just bring Noelle. And then Noelle's waves break shields for me. Gohan's kind of cool. You know what? Yeah, you know what? I'm right about that. You're wrong. I'm right. Noelle above Gohan. I'd rather run a Noelle than a Gohan because Noelle brings me money back. She gets waves that hits every single enemy in the game that breaks their shields, that does damage to them, whittles them down, slows them, debuffs them. Noelle over Gohan. That's what I'd say. I'd rather have a Noelle on my team than a Gohan on my team. The next unit we're going to be looking at is going to be... We'll come back to Coolby. I want to talk about Coolby in a second here. Coolby is he's kind of a unique thing. Coolby is very unique. Kirit is why you even exist. Akami's basically doing the same damage at level 8 that Kirit's doing at level 31. Like, what's the point of Kirit? Kirit doesn't even have anything. He doesn't have any passives or anything like that. Like, what's the point of you? Speaking of what's the point of you, what's the point of Ray? What is the point of Ray? I know Ray does like Blazing Fury. Yeah, he plays Burn. When are people using Burn? Like, nobody cares about Burn. What's the point of this, man? Speaking of more pointless, Rogan. I don't even know what Rogan does. I don't have a Rogan. But he can't be that good if I don't have him. I haven't grinded for him. You explain to me why Rogan should be better than why do you even exist? Because I think a lot of people are going to agree Rogan's garbage. Rogan is garbage. Speaking of garbage, Akame. Akame is going to be the best of the garbage. That's what I'm going to put. Akame is going to be the best of the garbage. I heard that she can buff fierce units by a little bit. You're looking at Gohan, but like I said, Gohan's not good anymore. All right, moving on to the next is Yune. Yune's got to be close with Groundja. I got to put them side by side because Yune is only ground, which is unfortunate because she has an MP5. How are you only hitting the ground with an MP5? Like, you should be hybrid. You should be hybrid. I don't understand it. But yeah, Yune is a decent unit, you know. Her DPS is really amazing. She's cheap unit to place down. You can place a speed cart. You have enough money after the speed cart wave is over to place Yune. She just doesn't upgrade well. I wouldn't even bother upgrading her because her damage doesn't really go up that high. Her attack rate's really amazing though. She can get a lot of hits in. She's really good for breaking ground shields, but she doesn't hit anything in the air, so that's what's unfortunate about her. So if you're using a Groundja, use a Yune, and then that way you can get the scars, and then Gromja can hit really heavy with the crits. They make a really wonderful pair if you're using the two of them. If you got Miracle on Gromja, run a Yune with him, and boom, you're hitting so heavy. You're going to surprise people how heavy you're hitting. Speaking of heavy hitting, Mercury. Mercury's fallen off, man. Mercury has fallen off. The summons with Miracle can only do 50k damage. Light's already replaced that. We're going to put him down to B tier. Mercury is like a lower damage potential. I think his DPS with Miracles like 50k. Or no, his damage he hits for 50k. His attack rate isn't that great. The Mercury's fallen. He's fallen. Speaking of fallen, Kaido. Kaido's gonna be better than Mercury. I do believe this now. I've seen somebody with a Miracle Kaido. It's stupid expensive to upgrade, but I mean, we're already in an era where things are stupid expensive to upgrade now. But Kaido can be really strong. I've seen him do over 100k damage. He can make Sid's nuke happen more often. He can make Noelle summon more waves more often. It's a good support unit to bring for those cases, and his damage could be really nice. He's just stupid expensive to upgrade. And between the two of them, like if you only have the money to upgrade one, upgrade Sid. Why would you not upgrade Sid? You could just place Kaido down and then use Kaido's passive to buff Sid without even upgrading him. So that puts him more down to a support tier. Speaking of support, let's talk about Time King. Time King is not... I don't understand it. They said in the Discord that Time King is going to be the new meta. And then they released multi-lane maps where Time King only has a placement limit of 1. So they're saying that Time King is going to be meta, and he's a strong unit. Don't get me wrong, he's strong. He just costs 10k to place, and you can only place one of him. So he can slow up to 50%, 55%, something like that. The multi-lane maps, there's no point to bring him. Like, he's a waste of a slot. You'll be able to slow one lane unless your team all brings the Time King and everyone slows one lane. But it's like, at that point, just bring Yano. Then Yano can slow every lane. Like, unless you're doing like an infinite run, then you're going to run Time King for infinite run because Time King is a must for infinite. But other than that, I haven't seen anyone bring Time King. Time King's pointless now. His time stop only works around him. That means you can only stop one lane. Winter event has 4 lanes. Worlds Collide event has 3 lanes. You can only place one Time King. It seems really pointless. Like, unless everyone on your team brings one for every lane, then it could work. I'm going to put him at high B tier. Yes, his damage is really good. Yes, he can hit really hard like a truck. If you put Miracle on him, he's hitting absurdly well. I think it's like 130k damage he's dealing. One of the highest damage that I've seen. But it's like nobody's using him. Nobody's using him because he's expensive to place. He's expensive to upgrade. And it's pointless because you need one for every lane. So everyone has to have one. Everyone has to have Miracle on him to have good damage numbers. Other than that, what's the point of bringing him? Speaking of what's the point of bringing him, 21. What's the point of bringing 21? I almost want to say, why do you exist? I almost want to say, why do you exist? Because we were at a point before where it's like you would tell people when they're new to the game, grind out Android 21, get your Android 21, easy secret to get, go farm the easy map, farm the legend stage, get your 21, use the 21 to beat the other stuff. 21 is so weak now. 21 is so weak. You know what we are? We are going to say, why do you exist? So Android 21 can buff people's range. So you can get a further range with Android 21, which is nice, You know, it's a nice little boost, but they have to be close to a hill. So you have to place her on a hill, and then you place the units around the hill. And like I said before, like, hill units are really not good placements because there's not really any good hills. If you're looking at the new Worlds Collide map, there's good hills on 2 of the lanes, but the Beerus lane, there's no good hills. So we're just going to leave her right there. Why do you exist? People are still capable of farming her. Her drop rate's really low still too. They should buff her drop rate because she's still weak. Do your bingo, get Tobaramo, Evo, bam, already better than 21, already better than a secret. That's insane to me. And then use Tobaramo to farm other stuff, like maybe grab a Mercury, and then Mercury could help you because Mercury, with a miracle, Mercury can solo a lane in Worlds Collide, and then you get your Sid, and then now you're good. You're set. You're caught up. Moving on, let's talk about Cydia. Let's talk about Cydia. Cydia is going to be a unit that I have to look at because I don't really remember Cydia's stuff. I don't remember it being good anyways. Freezing Aura. Enemies that are below 40% health, you could freeze. And then Ice Frenzy, minus 10% SPA for 15 seconds after killing a frozen enemy, down to 30%. So if you kill 3 enemies, you get 30% quicker SPA. It's needed with that really, really slow attack rate. It's a decent unit to run. You know, the damage isn't too far behind. It's still good. It's still good up there. The aura stuff, I don't really care about too much. They have to be below 40% to be frozen. That seems kind of weird. Urinate just freezes, period. So like Urinate's DPS is lower, yes, but Urinate freezes constantly. It doesn't have to wait for their health to be low. But Sid's damage potential is pretty nice. Sid's damage potential does be pretty good. I'm not going to put her in S. She's not strong enough for an S, but she's a great A tier. Her damage potential has not fallen off. She can be a really strong unit to bring. Now let's talk about real strong units. I would argue that Delta Brothers is still S tier. Delta Brothers can do up to 80k damage with Miracle, and then it only costs 50,000 to upgrade as opposed to 75,000 against Sid. So you save a lot of money there. Delta Brothers nuke and Sid's nuke are global tied though. So if you pop one nuke, you can't pop the other nuke. But the benefit is though, if Sid pops his nuke, Delta Brothers still gets the damage and range increase, which is amazing. So if someone has a Sid, don't pop your nuke. Let Sid pop the nuke. Your Delta Brothers will still get the damage increase. And then Delta Brothers is doing 100k damage after the nuke for only 50k. 100k damage for only 50k. It's actually really nice. They're slowly starting to try to weed him out. They're putting units out here that are doing a little bit more than he is. Like Sid's just doing his stuff outright. He doesn't need a nuke to do 100k. Delta Brothers is reliant on the nuke to do 100k. Otherwise, he's only doing 80k. So that's kind of where the gap is there. But other than that, Delta Brothers is still a great unit. 80k as opposed to 100k for 25k less, that's honestly worth it to me. Speaking of worth it to me, Beerus. Beerus is behind Delta Brothers. I would rather have a Delta Brothers than a Beerus. But Beerus's passive is a 30% chance to insta-kill enemies below 25 HP. Does not work on bosses. From what I've heard, they're going to make it work on bosses, but they'll probably change out the tweakings of these things. They might make it less than 25% HP for the bosses. So it'll be 25% for the units, and then maybe say like 15% for the bosses. Fear, 12% more damage. Nanami's doing better than that, but still his damage potential is nice. He can do 100k DPS or 100k damage per attack if you have Miracle on him, so it's really good. Speaking of really good, Aizen. Aizen's also really good. I would rather have an Aizen than Beerus or Delta Brothers. Aizen goes AoE. His ability allows him to do dot damage, I believe his ability does. He just is a really strong, powerful unit. Now, a thing that is really, really cool about Aizen's basically the new Mihawk here, 2 steps ahead. 30% chance to stun enemies for 7.5 seconds, the longest stun that we have. 30% chance to stun. And then if he deals damage to a boss while they're stunned, 275% more damage. Do you know how insane that is? He's hitting like a truck. This man is going to put the highest damage numbers out there that exist if he hits someone that's stunned. And that's why I said Lucky One is really strong this update, because if you put a Lucky One, stun the boss, and then let Aizen attack, Aizen is going to hit this man so hard. It's not even funny how hard Aizen is going to hit. Because yes, Aizen's hitting like a truck. He's going to hit really hard, but Sid's nuke does more damage than anything else in the game right now. So Sid, Aizen, Nanami, Delta Brothers, Beerus. I think we waited long enough. I think it's about time. Let's talk about God tier. Okay? God tier is the best unit in the game. God tier is, there's no point to have anyone but this unit. Like, if you could just only grab one unit in the entire game and you weren't allowed to use anyone else, you're going to use the God tier unit, because the God tier is just a god, man. He's a god at this game. And I'm sure we all know by now. We all know who's going to be God tier. I mean, there's only 2 options left, so it's pretty blatantly obvious here. Coolby's God tier. I'm not going to elaborate on that. You guys can just figure that one out for yourselves. Coolby's God tier, so deal with that with you will. Speaking of deal that with you will, Dio, why do you even exist? Okay. And I'm just putting him there because I don't have him. Yeah, he can time stop. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, his damage can be really nice, but I don't have you, so you know what? I don't care about you, Dio. I don't care about you. If I pull the Dio, hey man, maybe a different story. Maybe I'll put him up there a little bit more. But until I pull a Dio, he's gonna be why do you even exist? Because I don't care. I'm beating the game just fine without Dio, so apparently I don't need Dio that much. He's not apparently that worth it. But yeah, no, that's been my tier list video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope you guys agree with everything that I said, because if you don't, then why don't you agree? You should agree with me. Always agree with me. I'm right. I'm right. Look, I'm top 100 leaderboard. I know what I'm joking. Let me not glaze myself too much. But hey, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and checking out the tier list video. I hope you guys aren't too offended by anything I put in anywhere. Remember, as always, it's always just a personal opinion about this, but I do have some experience with the game. I kind of know what I'm talking about, so you can kind of base your own opinion based off of the things that I've said. My opinion doesn't have to be your opinion. It's just a way to help, shape your own opinion a little bit for you. Make your own decisions, make your own choices. Screw this guy, he has Dio. Just kidding. But as always, take care of yourselves, make sure you drink water, eat some food, and as always, I love you.